The championship game in the Eurobasket 2022 tournament is set, and it will not feature Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, or Luka Doncic. So who's in and what's going on in Eurobasket 2022? Let's break it down. Welcome to the bar. Grab your drinks, and let's go. What's up, ballers? Welcome back to the bar. My name is Calvin. I will be your host today on this short episode here where we're going to be talking about Eurobasket 2022. That's right, the European World Championship equivalent tournament has been going on now over in Europe for quite some time. We are at the final stage here where the championship game is set. And of course, there's no NBA basketball to talk about. So we've got a lot of NBA stars playing in this tournament. Some of them, however, big names, have recently been eliminated. So let's give you an update here of where we are currently in the tournament. We have the championship game and the third place game set. That's going to be both games tomorrow. The times on your screen here are Hawaiian times. So the third place game will be at 8:15 a.m. Pacific time. And the championship game will be at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. Third place is going to be a surprise game for both teams, Germany and Poland. Both teams with some big upsets earlier in the tournament. They were unable to make the championship game. However, we're going to talk a lot about Germany here because they've got a couple NBA players that have had big tournaments and even earned themselves some contracts as a result of their play here in this tournament. The championship game is going to be two familiar teams, however, not the favorites, I would say, to make it this far, and that's going to be Spain and France. Spain, of course, had a long time of dominance in European basketball. Guys like Marc Gasol, Pau Gasol, Serge Ibaka, those players are no longer there for Spain. However, they still have a very solid team. France has some very household names, of course, Evan Fournier, Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert. So this team is rolling right now. But let's back up a little bit here so we can kind of review how we got to this spot, because the tournament really started to heat up here in the quarterfinals. You still had all the heavy hitters, or at least most of the teams that were expected to make it this far in this stage, and that would be Slovenia, of course, who is the defending champion of this tournament. Luka Doncic is obviously the most recognizable player from that team. They went down in a big-time upset to Poland, losing by 3 points. There was a little bit of controversy after this game when Luka Doncic was in his post-game press conference. He seemed to be favoring his back a little bit during this game. He was asked a couple times about his health and how close he was to 100%, if that affected the outcome of this game. He tried to brush off the question a little bit, but he did say that he was not feeling 100%. However, it didn't matter. He admitted that he let his country down here. Obviously, this is a big deal for these guys, for playing for their country, their pride, their hometown, their home country. And Luka Doncic, having won this tournament the year before, was very disappointed that they didn't make it back to the championship game, and nobody expected Poland to win this game by a final score of 90-87. Greece was another team that was expected to do very well in this tournament. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the leading scorer for the entire tournament. That comes as no surprise, averaging close to 30 points a game. They went down to Germany, who has had an amazing run in this tournament. Dennis Schroeder has really played phenomenally for Germany, also averaging over 20 points a game. He's coming off a 30-point performance in the semifinal loss to Spain. But Franz Wagner as well has really had a phenomenal tournament. He is getting ready for his sophomore campaign in the NBA with the Orlando Magic, and Magic fans should be very happy with what they've seen from Franz Wagner. He looks like he's taken another couple steps. They were able to upset Greece in the quarterfinals 107-96. Spain over Finland by 10. Finland, another team that was a little bit of a surprise maybe to make it this far. Lauri Markkanen another NBA player who is having a great tournament. He's actually second in the league in scoring, which we'll look at in a second. And then France with an overtime win against Italy, 90-83. That fast forward us to the semifinals here. Poland, again, a big surprise to make it this far. No match for France in the semifinals here as they were trounced by 40 points. France allowed just 18 points in the first half to Poland. This game was never close. However, the other semifinal was a phenomenal game. Spain with a 5-point win, 96-91 over Germany. As I mentioned, Dennis Schroeder had 30 points in that game. This was a very, very entertaining game. Germany comes up just a little bit short, and that will bring us to the medal round, the third place game. Again, Germany and Poland. I would have to think Germany is a pretty heavy favorite at this point in that game. And then Spain and France. France is probably going to be favored, but this game could be very close, and it's probably going to come down to defense, right? France has the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year in Rudy Gobert back there anchoring that D, and as I mentioned, they will most likely be favored here. Just to give you a quick look at some of the individual player performances from this tournament so far, I already mentioned Giannis has been leading the tournament in scoring throughout its entirety here at 29.3 points per game. The guys behind him, though, some of them might surprise you a little bit. Number 2, Lauri Markkanen from Finland, 27, nearly 28 points per game in this tournament. He has played really, really well. This is including a 43-point performance earlier on in the tournament, and of course they made it all the way to the quarterfinals. And then Luka Doncic, another very familiar name here at 26 points per game, followed by, of course, Nikola Jokic at 21 points per game. But this is the guy right here, Dennis Schroeder, 6th in the tournament in scoring, 21.6 points per game. He's played so well that the Lakers have recently offered him a 1-year deal to bring him back to LA. He was one of the last remaining free agents, notable free agents still available in the NBA, and due to his play here, the Lakers feel like they're ready to make a move on him. They signed him to a 1-year deal. I think it's worth $2.6 million, and there's now going to be heavy competition within the Lakers training camp for that starting point guard role. Of course, you've got Patrick Beverley. You still have Russell Westbrook, who they may even bring off the bench at $47 million a year, which is just ridiculous. And now Dennis Schroeder, who, of course, was with the Lakers recently, and they're going to bring him back. He's looked very, very good, as well as Franz Wagner. I think Germany is probably the surprise team of this tournament just because of the way that they've played. They've elevated their game. But let's go back to the teams that are remaining here for the title. I predicted Germany and France would be playing for the championship. Just narrowly missed that one. I'm still going to take France to win the whole thing. But I want to know from you guys here. Please write us down a message in the comments. First of all, have you even been watching any of this tournament? How up to date are you? Who's your title favorite? Who you think is going to take home the whole thing? And also, I want to hear from anybody. Are they at all worried if you're a Mavericks fan, if you're a Bucks fan? These are teams that are expected to be contending for the NBA title perhaps this year. Are you worried at all about your stars? A little bit of fatigue. Luka Doncic definitely looked like he had been worn down a little bit, his back possibly favoring himself in the semifinals or the quarterfinal matchup that they lost. Are you worried about your stars playing this tournament deep into the summer and now beginning of fall, getting ready for the NBA season? Who's going to take it home? The game, again, is tomorrow. Title game will be 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. Should be an entertaining match. Until then, we will be back live at Basketball on the Bar this coming Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Hawaiian. That's 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we'll look forward to seeing you then. Until then, don't forget to tip your bartender.